All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Voices from the Planet. I am your host, Eric. Thank you again for joining me. How you guys liking this new schedule every 2 weeks? It's a little more manageable, I guess. I'm still doing 2 podcasts a week because we do it. Everyone knows you're high on the other Thursday, but I feel at least like it gives time where I don't have to worry about things to talk about every 2 weeks. Or every week, not like I'm that good at having all these topics ready to go on this podcast. I'm sure that's not why you tune in. For those of you who don't know and are listening to this on the audio channels only, this podcast is now available on YouTube. And if you're watching on YouTube, thank you. I hope you guys are enjoying this new format. Still getting used to it, but I feel like I got lucky the last 2 times because I had I had Calais. He came in both times, huh? Fuck, I can't even remember anymore. But yeah, I think Calais came in both times. So he kind of saved me. It wasn't just me. We'll see if he pops in again to rescue me. He's around here somewhere. But yes, this setting may look familiar. This is the Everyone Knows You're High studio. I've moved out of the house and into whatever this is called. But trying this out with video now. I don't know if I talked about it on the other podcast. But in addition to the new addition to our family, my mother-in-law who lives with us is getting a little older and not wanting to walk upstairs to her bedroom all the time and bring stuff up and down the stairs. And I get that. It's totally fine. So we figured we'd plan and just kind of anticipate moving her downstairs, which is the studio, and then setting up her old bedroom as another kid's room, I suppose. I almost feel like maybe our oldest son, Erickson, should get his own room, and then the other 2 little ones should share a room. Which for Hito is pretty much him getting his own room anyways, because I'm sure the baby's going to sleep with us. We co-sleep. I know a lot of doctors and professionals and experts advise against it. However, we've co-slept with all our kids. Basically from when the time they were born. I mean, Erickson now sleeps in his own bed every night. That was maybe a couple years ago that started. Hito still sleeps with us on a regular basis. Every once in a while, we'll put him down in his room, but at some point in the middle of the night, he wakes up and like comes back to our room. So, needless to say, I haven't had the bed to myself with my wife in a very long time. And for some reason, my kids are like magnets to me when they sleep. They're always flopping over and like hitting me and kicking me and putting their legs on me. And I don't like it, but I'm not mean enough to kick them out of the bed yet. So I just kind of scooch over and curl up in the side like a little bitch. But it's for my kids, so figure it's fine, whatever. But yeah, so anyways, why did I start talking about that? I don't even remember. Because I'm recording in the studio now, that's why. And the reconfiguration of the rooms in our house, that's why I was talking about it. But I'm here now. I hope you guys are enjoying it. Thank you for checking it out. Yeah, thanks. So, let's see. What are we talking about this episode? I actually have my trusty iPad with me, like real technology, like a fucking awesome podcast should have. But I wanted to I feel like so lame being like, I wanted to talk about this and this is what I wanted to talk about, but the reality is I did, and I don't know how to do it in a way that doesn't come across as like trying to be all fucking show like. So this isn't like a news broadcast. I know I'm not like gonna be giving you the hot takes on current event issues or anything like that, but there's some shit that happened that came out in the news and whatever that I find kind of funny. And I kind of want to talk about it because for the past fucking 2.5 years, almost 3 years now, it's been a reoccurring theme that I talk about on this podcast, and that my co-host on Everyone Knows You're High tries to stop me from talking about most times. But it's fucking the COVID restrictions and the vaccine mandates and all that crazy shit that has been going down, and how it has divided people across the world into the vaccinated versus the unvaccinated camp, and how it's just affected all of our lives in monumentous ways, basically. But the CDC has released new COVID-19 guidelines to focus on individual decisions, which I think a lot of people were kind of trying to say in the beginning, right? It should be up to the person. I know my body, my choice is kind of a reoccurring slogan that was being tossed around from the right against the left, when it's usually a left thing. It's crazy, right? I mean, we're in the middle of some crazy fucking times. But so now the CDC wants to focus on individual decisions, which is really nice of them to finally come around, right? After fucking 2.5 years of telling you need to do this and you need to do that and all this crazy shit. So the first bullet point is those exposed to the virus are no longer required to quarantine. So what the fuck? I'm assuming, okay, I'm going to put this out there because there may be smarter people than me watching this or listening, and they may say, well, because the variants that are out now are way weaker and blah, 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 blah. But so those exposed to the virus no longer need to quarantine. Okay. So maybe we have reached that herd immunity that they had talked about so much in the beginning of this, as this like carrot dangling in front of us that if we can fucking only reach this number, but we can never quite reach this fucking number of vaccinated people. But yeah, no longer needed quarantine. So that means if you get exposed to the virus, because you'll know, because your phone is tracking you and letting the CDC know where you've been and what other phones you've been next to, and calculates that data, and if you've been in contact with somebody, they will let you know by messaging you saying you've been exposed to COVID potentially. The next bullet point is unvaccinated people now have the same guidance as vaccinated people, which is one of the more crazy ones, because for the past 2.5 years vaccinated people were afforded more liberties than unvaccinated people, which is fucking bullshit. Because the whole time everyone was saying the vaccine doesn't protect you from getting it and spreading it, so what's the fucking difference? But they stood their ground and continued to say that, you know, if you're not unvaccinated, you got to do this, and this to fucking do whatever you're thinking about doing. Next one. Students can stay in class after being exposed to the virus. What? What the fuck? I mean, so a teacher comes into school, gets fucking tested or has symptoms and is tested positive for COVID. And all those kids that she's or he has been teaching are potential exposures to COVID. And they can all stay in the class, and what? They can bring a sub in to fill in for that sick teacher and have that teacher be exposed. Like, it makes no fucking sense. And I'm not saying that, like, we should be, like, I'm not trying to offer any explanations or solutions, because I'm not here for that. I'm here to just bitch and complain and point out some of the craziness and hypocrisy and ridiculousness. But it's like, why were kids being told to stay out if otherwise? Like, back a year and a half ago, if you even traveled somewhere, you weren't allowed to come back to school if you weren't vaccinated for like 10 days or whatever it was. Like, what the fuck? This is bullshit. It's mental. So students can stay in class now. At first, they were like so scared about, and rightfully so, you should be worried about the children, but they were worried about the children getting COVID more than they were about the negative side effects of wearing masks for fucking 8 hours a day. And recently here in Hawaii, at the start of this new school year at least, the Department of Education has at least made masks optional. It appears as if staff and teachers still need to wear masks, but at least for the students in the classroom, it's now optional. They don't have to wear a mask if they don't want to. However, at my kids' school, when we drop them off and pick them up, I still see choke fucking kids wearing masks. And I wonder if it's their decision or if it's the parents' decision, or maybe it's influenced by the parents' decisions thus far, which makes the kids want to do that. Because, we asked our kids, like, do you want to wear your mask in school? And they're like, nope. They're excited not to wear masks. And I have a feeling if a kid is worried and wants to wear a mask, that isn't just on their own decision, by their own thought process alone. It has everything to do with their parents influencing them, the way they reacted to it throughout this pandemic. It's just crazy to see. Like, you have the option to not wear it, and you know it's not good for you to wear it, yet everybody still wants to wear it. And even to this day, you still see people driving in the car by themselves wearing a mask. And I get it. Some people used to do that even before the pandemic. We all saw them, and there were some people that did that, but that was probably for other reasons. But now when you see just, I don't know, like at least 10 times more people driving around by themselves wearing masks in their cars. It's crazy. Like, if you want, like, I can see wearing a mask for other reasons, like, your AC don't work, so you gotta ride with your windows rolled down, and you don't want to be breathing brake dust off the freeways. Fuck, wear a mask. Cool, right? That's actually probably a good time to wear it. Most people don't even consider that as, like, a fucking thing they should consider and worry about, breathing in brake dust. But that'd be the mask would probably stop those particles better than it would any kind of virus. But I digress. Anyways, but yeah, so new COVID guidelines was the last one here. Sorry, there was one more. Oh. It's no longer recommended to screen those without symptoms. And I don't know. I'm hoping that what changes, that the virus is just way weaker and, like, people are getting it and not even knowing that's why, and, like, not showing any symptoms. Nobody's dying anymore from it. Obviously, you're not hearing daily death tolls or even case counts anymore. That kind of just stopped, which is nice to not have to hear that shit on repeat every fucking day. But it almost, with these new guidelines that the CDC has rolled out, it's obvious that the fear and panic mongering that our government did and the CDC did and the World Health Organization did was completely overblown, unnecessary. And here's the crazy thing. This is where we get into, like, now what, okay? So there were thousands of active service members in our military who refused to get the vaccine when it was, like, mandated to them, or, ordered to active duty military to get the vaccine. And they were discharged from their duties and from their careers in the military. So what about all these guys? Are they going to give them their jobs back? And here's a question to the people who in other positions, because it's not only the military, a lot of jobs probably let go people because they didn't want to get vaccinated or due to vaccination statuses. But how many of you would want to go back to where you worked for knowing that they would fucking treat you like that? And as, like, especially in the military, like, as the people who are in charge of the military, how can you trust people that you fucked over, that you have to give their jobs back when they're probably the most capable of overthrowing you? It's like, what are they going to do? All the people who lost their jobs sitting at home or had to find new jobs, lost their businesses, all that shit. What about those guys now that these new guidelines came out? Where's like the restitution? Is that the word? Reparations for their pain and suffering that they had to endure because of this bullshit. Fucking sick of it already. Hopefully it's over now. You won't hear me talking about it too much, maybe. The news probably won't be covering it. Now it's all about fucking monkeypox. And like, I don't know. It's impossible to keep up. They're just going to keep finding things to eventually get everybody vaccinated on something. But here's the thing. Most of us are vaccinated on something or another already, except for like the hardcore anti-vaxxers. But to each their own. That's what I say. Your body, your choice. Fucking. Okay, I think I'm done with fucking COVID. So annoying talking about COVID. But I love it. It's like, why do I love talking about shit that irritates me? Oh, it's the same reason that the social medias get you. It's because what aggravates you gets you fucking interacting with shit. Like I said, I'm not here to offer any type of solution or ideas how to make it better. I am simply here to just talk shit. Bitch. Which brings me to my next story. Which makes absolutely no sense in a transition or a segue. So I'm sure everybody is aware, because you're all up to date on current events and shit, that Trump's home resort, I thought it was like a country club called Mar-a-Lago, but apparently this motherfucker names his houses, was raided by the FBI on Monday. This is Thursday, so I'm already late. That's what I'm saying. You're not here for the fucking hot takes and the fucking breaking news. But yeah, raided by the FBI because they suspected him of having some files that he might have taken from the White House, and some of that shit could have been classified or confidential. Probably classified, yeah. Super classified, top secret shit. Which I can understand. You don't want that shit out of the hands where it can be watched, and make sure the wrong people aren't getting eyes on it. However, it really feels like there's something more to this. Like they're going after Donald Trump to fuck him for something else. Because why couldn't you just like call him and be like, bro, like you took those boxes. You got to bring that shit back. Like you cannot be taking documents from the office after you've left. Like that's proprietary information. We gave you a Secret Service to protect you basically for the rest of your life. Which at any point they could MK Ultra any one of the Secret Service guys who are working for Trump. But I wonder how many Secret Service guys that work for fucking Biden are actually like secret Trump supporters, or like genuinely concerned about the state of our president. But I don't understand why there couldn't have been more like a call instead of like a raid. And granted, I don't think they were kicking in doors with smoke bombs and shooting his dogs or anything like how when they do no-knock raids on other people. But yeah, they searched his house and were looking for some documents that he shouldn't have had. Here's the weird twist, is that maybe one of those documents was an Epstein client list that he was not supposed to have taken. And they're trying to clean up all the loose ends on that shit. Because get this, the judge that signed the warrant for the search used to be a lawyer. And he's the same lawyer who got Jeffrey Epstein his sweetheart deal when he was first charged with all these crimes of fucking pedophilia and sex trafficking and fucking around with underage girls. So that's kind of interesting, because that motherfucker is probably on that list too. Wouldn't that be crazy if it ends up that judge is on that list. When are we ever going to find it? See, that's another crazy thing is that all these things happening, you always got to look and wonder. And I may sound like a complete nut job conspiracy theorist, but what are they distracting you from? Right? The Ghislaine Maxwell trial. She was found guilty, but what about all the people she supplied these kids to? And then apparently, I guess in court transcripts, it was noted that she had said, like, the tapes and recordings that were in Epstein's safe, that were in FBI, like, evidence custody, went missing and shit. So that's crazy in itself. Things always go missing. Cameras are always off when they shouldn't be. And people get murked, and we never know the truth. Okay, so that's crazy. But what the conspiracy theorists are fucking upset about and ranting and raving about, and most sane people are realizing, is that, like, if they can do this to an ex-president, then they can do it to anybody. Which, when I thought about that statement, I thought, like, couldn't they already do that to anybody anyway? I mean, if they got a warrant, they can come raid your house. They can search your shit. So it's not like they did anything that, like, oh my God. Because people get fucking raided all the fucking time. But the fact that they did it to an ex-president is pretty nuts. Over missing documents. When I believe it was a few years ago, another politician, after being subpoenaed for some emails, went ahead and deleted that shit. And she never got in trouble. And you know what the fuck I'm talking about, Hillary Clinton. And then get this, she's fucking, I don't know if this is real or not. This could be fucking bullshit. It is a cap she's selling. But trying to fucking sell merch and shit that says, but her emails, as like a jab at Donald Trump, like, oh, but what about her emails? Like, I wonder if that can be really real, because that's pretty fucking gangster. But I think the Clintons have proven that they don't need to be any more fucking gangster. I mean, they fucking murder people. It's pretty gangster as it fucking gets. But this all might just be a ploy to, you know, block Donald Trump for running for president in 2024. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a Trump supporter. I don't vote. Fuck them all. All politicians. They're all corrupt. All of them. This is some green crack from one of the sponsors. Yeah, cheers, guys. This isn't Everyone Knows You're High, but I'm not at my house, so I can fucking smoke. So it's fucking cool, right? And it's been long enough time that I think my parents would have tuned out by now. So, cheers. All right, so I went on to Instagram earlier today and put out to see if there's anything anybody wanted me to talk about, because, you know, as listeners of the show and supporters of the podcast, I mean, I want to be able to talk about the things that you guys are curious about. So I'm going to check if there's any more, because it's been a while since I last checked. All right, let's see. I still only got one. Still only one question, which I will answer because I'm here to please you guys. Bhakti yoga shit, right? Service. But before I get into that, just because as soon as I pulled up this opened up my Instagram, there's this clip that shows up. And I don't know if everybody's seen it, but these two dudes are attempting to rob some sort of store. Maybe a vape shop or something, looks like. I have no idea. But two guys come in with ski masks on, and the shop owner's like, what are you guys doing with the mask on? Come on, what the fuck? And they don't say anything, and they're acting real fucking sus, as the kids say. They're acting real suspicious. And he's like, come on, guys, just fucking leave, whatever. And one of the dudes reaches and grabs, like, I guess the tip jar, it looks like. And then grabs the tip jar, and the guy's like, all right, well, you can take the money, just fucking leave. Like, give me the shop owner even says, like, give me the coins back. I need those coins. And then that same guy, like, reaches over the counter to try and, like, grab something off the back shelf. The shop owner, like, lunges to try to stop him. And then the accomplice hops over the other counter and starts trying to grab shit. So the shop owner or the worker, employee, whatever, comes back around to deal with that guy. But what these motherfucking dumbasses didn't notice is that while they were talking to him, this motherfucker already had grabbed the knife. So as he went to go address the second accomplice, he just fucking started stabbing this guy. And the guy didn't realize it at first. He thought he was just getting hit. And then the stabbee yells out, oh my God, he's stabbing me. I'm dead. I'm dead. And then the shop owner proceeds to drag this motherfucker like towards the front of the shop. Meanwhile, homeboy's two friends who was in on the heist, because there was another guy standing at the back of the store like holding the door open. These two motherfucking pussies ran away. Left their friend to probably die in a pool of his own blood. Over what? Stealing some fucking elf bars? God damn, these kids are fucking stupid. And I know okay, so we just had Ancy Medeiros on the podcast for Everyone Knows You're High. He's an MMA fighter, and he touched on a recent incident that happened here in Hawaii and how it's not about jumping on the kids and, like, belittling the kids. But I feel like this is a different case. These kids looked a little older, and they were like actually, I mean, both of these two incidences are crimes. I'm trying to now I'm thinking about it. Should I be talking shit about these two dumbasses or three dumbasses? This one kid probably, I don't even know what happened. He might have died. He might not have. Luckily, the shop owner called an ambulance for his bleeding fucking robber. So maybe he didn't die, but maybe he did. I heard footsteps out there, which always creeps me out because I don't know if it's fucking Calais coming around or if it's like the ghost of Christmas past. Calais. Anyway, but so yeah, sorry, that was a real left turn because that just popped up. But good for that shop owner for defending his shit. I don't know what he's gonna be charged with. Maybe something, because this guy posted in the comment or in the caption, Asian hospitality. Fucking so that was what popped up first. I'm sorry, I got distracted by that. But so let's get to the question I got from the homie Spells, who did the logo for our podcast, Everyone Knows You're High. God, Everyone Knows You're High is getting a lot of plugs on this episode tonight. So, the question from Spells. What he said? Oh shit, how do I get back to it? Fuck. Where'd it go? Alright, here we go. Ninja vs. Shaolin. Who wins? Okay, I'm assuming the Shaolin monk has broken the vow of nonviolence. Let's just assume the ninja is coming there to assassinate one of the abbots or something, of the monastery. And this forces the monks to have to resort to violence in the name of self-defense. Okay. So we have to because we got to set a scenario, because most monks, I don't think if a monk and a ninja were to just cross paths, I don't think they just instantly like beef it out. The ninja, you probably wouldn't even know they're a ninja. It probably just looks like some random dude walking on the street. But so let's just say Ninja Clan gets the fucking orders. You gotta kill the abbot over there at the monastery. Go handle your business, or handle our business. Actually, here's 100 pounds of gold, or whatever the going rate for an assassination is nowadays, or in those days. I think it's always been the same. Hence the price fluctuation, because it's based on the value of gold. So back then it was a little less probably, but now, I mean, you could give them 100 pounds of gold, I guess. But who the fuck wants 100 pounds of gold? Is it 100? I don't know. Anyway, I'm not sure on the going rates for assassins. It's not a world I'm like in. But so what ninja? Are we talking like Chris Farley in Beverly Hills Ninja, or are we talking Korean pop star Rain in Ninja Assassin Ninja, or are we talking historically accurate ninja? And then in the other corner, what kind of monk are we talking about? Are we talking about fucking like the Shao brother days movies? I don't know that actor's name from those movies. But back in the days, the Wu-Tang and the Shaolin movies and shit. Like that guy, or are we talking like fucking the monk in Anger Management, played by John C. Reilly? I think that's him, right? Like, I'm going to assume, just for the sake of this question, because the details weren't laid out in the question itself, so I'm going to help fill in the blanks. Let's just go with the most two brutal depictions of that. We're talking like ninja assassin, killer, and Shaolin monk, fucking Wu-Tang assassin. All right, so let's fucking talk about it. What are some of the tactics that a ninja uses? I don't know if you guys can hear all this noise in the background, but I was trying to wait till our friendly neighbors next door were done wrenching, but apparently they're not. So I'm not going to go the typical fucking route of this, because that's too simplistic to just have a ninja sneak in at night and attempt to assassinate. Words. Attempt to assassinate the abbot. So we're going to do it this way, just to make this a longer answer to spells this question. I hope you're fucking listening. I hope I'm not doing this for people who don't even give a shit. But let's just say the ninja assassin decides, okay, or the clan decides, we're going to send one of our ninjas. We're going to have him infiltrate the monastery. But this is not going to happen overnight. You can't just walk in and be like, hey, I'm a monk, I'm going to join you. That doesn't work that way. I don't think, maybe they do, because monks are pretty, like, accepting of people, yeah? But not these monks. These are warrior monks. They're suspicious of everybody. And this is, like, a Japanese guy going over to China, because I think I failed to make that distinction that ninjas are Japanese and Shaolin monks are Chinese. Okay, so Shinobi over here goes and travels over to China, and what he does is he joins a monastery that his target is not at. And you got to send a young assassin, and for that they have to, assuming he's gone through the proper ninja training, he's been immersed in this life since he was a child. So even as a young adult, he's more than capable of pulling off a high-level assassination, okay? So his mission is go and infiltrate any monastery in China, which through the arts of espionage and disguise, he's easily able to do. So for a few years, he studies and practices and learns at this monastery to, I guess, gain credibility, because word might spread to other ones that there's this new Japanese monk. Because I don't know, maybe Chinese and Japanese can tell. I mean, I know a lot of white people can't tell Chinese from Japanese and other Asian ethnicities, but I'm sure Chinese people can tell, like, when the Japanese come around, right? But anyway, this guy, even though he's Japanese, is able to gain the trust of this Shaolin monk temple, get in good, maybe rise to the ranks a little bit. He's not starting as the lowest level entry, disciple. He's moving his way up a little. And then this monastery gets like an exchange program with another monastery. And just so happens that it's the monastery that his target is at. Now, does he volunteer for this mission? Is that too obvious? Or does he allow things to play out as they might and see if he gets invited or asked to do this mission, to go in this exchange program with their sister monastery up in the mountains? So some time goes by, and the monks are planning the trip over there, because I mean, you're thinking this is like, I don't know, I'm gonna guess like the 1300s, maybe the 1400s. So it's gonna take a while to get there from monastery to monastery. So the monks are planning out what they'll need, their supplies, their route, the safest route there. They probably got to pack some money and hire a crew to help protect the monks who are going along this journey to this other monastery. So all that's going well, and it's getting close to the time when the trip's about to go off, right? They're about to leave. But one of the monks who's supposed to go on the trip gets sick and he can't go. So as a last resort, they ask the Japanese monk, who they might have known him for a couple years, but how well can you get to know somebody? Monks don't really talk that much. So it's not like they're fucking sharing their life stories over their fucking bowls of rice and oolong tea. But regardless, they feel they can trust him with this one. He's young enough, healthy enough to make the journey. So they ask him, hey, can you go instead of the guy who got sick? And he's like, fuck, I guess, I've never been that deep into China before, but I guess I'll make the journey in replace of my brother who can no longer make it. So they do. They set out on their journey. Let's say six monks. Two of them maybe like real monks that don't fight at all. Like, they're not trained. Maybe they're too old. They're not as badass as they used to be. But then you got some real fucking kick-ass guys. But this guy, the Japanese one, he hasn't been able to learn all the Shaolin ways yet because he's new. You don't just... Within the first couple years, you ain't learning fucking Iron Curtain style and shit, right? So, he don't know shit, but that's what they think, right? We all know that he's the ninja. But they don't know that, so they just think he might know a little bit of things. He's fit, he's in shape. He can lift water and serve rice and shit. So they're going on their trip, and on their way they get attacked by bandits, right? So he has to not fight and just pretend to be afraid. He tries his best. Maybe he gets a couple good licks in, but he intentionally lets himself get a little bit fucked up in that fight. And unfortunately, they lose one of their warriors, and they lose also one of their fucking other monks, right? So now they're down to just the four of them, and they're continuing their journey, and they finally make it to the monastery. And now they have to tend to the Japanese monk's wounds because he's injured from this encounter with these bandits on the road. So they take him in, they nurse him back to health, but during this time, that's when other monks are coming to take care of him, and becoming fond of him, and they feel sorry for the suffering he had to go through and endure on this journey, being like, I mean, in addition to the lives lost, he also had physical injuries inflicted on him. So they're getting him better. The abbot of the fucking monastery catches wind of this injured monk who made this journey, who's a new monk basically. Because I would think that 2-3 years in, you're still considered a fucking disciple. You're not really up there, but So the abbot pays him a visit one night, and so he gets to know him, right? They start talking, and he's making up a backstory about how he got to China from Japan and blah, 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 all this shit. And the abbot actually becomes friends, or, wants to take this Japanese monk under his wing. So that happens. They become friends. The master and the disciple kind of relationship. Maybe not friends, more of that kind of relationship. And all this time, all the other monks there are getting a little jealous, and now they're getting suspicious. Like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, why is our master, like, taking such a liking to him? So time goes on. Maybe a couple more years they're there. The exchange program is working. And then finally one night, the fucking ninja sees his opportunity to get him. So he's bringing him his tea, and they usually watch the abbot's tea very closely, but for some reason that night they just weren't paying as close attention. And then Japanese monk was able to like smuggle in some herbs he found up in the mountains that were poisonous, and he was able to brew it into the abbot's tea and serve him his nightly tea. And so the next morning, when all the monks are waking up, everybody's getting ready. One of the disciples goes to wake up the abbot, and he realizes they realize like, oh shit, he's dead. He's been poisoned. So now they're all freaking out. Racism is a thing. So they're all looking at the Japanese guy like, what the fuck did you do? Who are you? Nobody knows you. Nobody knows any of you guys from your monastery, actually. So they start questioning the 4 monks who made the journey from the first monastery. And rather than go through the interrogation process, then our ninja friend decides this is his chance to, slip out. So as he's trying to leave, he fucking gets stopped by one of the monks and is like, what are you trying to do? And like, boom, it's obvious, right? Now we know you're the motherfucker who tried to killed our master. So a fight ensues, and ninjas are good, but you're talking about a whole fucking monastery of monks, and they just beat the living shit out of that ninja, and the monks win. So there you have it. So that being said, I was really hoping the ninja would win. I just made that shit up. I don't know. I think like just monks they have a different kind of conditioning, and that's all that shit you see on the internet's not real. But historically speaking, ninjas are fucking badass in hand-to-hand combat, and but more accurately so is they usually won't fight up and up. They'll usually run away. So, like I said, it had to be some crazy ass circumstance for that encounter to even happen. But yeah, thanks Spells for the question. I hope you enjoyed that answer. That was kind of long. This is actually going kind of long already. So I'm going to get to my next couple fucking things I wanted to talk about. I'm going to skip that one because I'm running out of time. Who's running out of time? I don't know. Fuck, there's no time limit on this shit. I could do whatever I want. Maybe I'll do it on after because I kind of want to rather leave it on a more positive note than something like shitty. But this came across on Twitter was that the Boston Children's Hospital is now going to perform gender-affirming hysterectomies on children. And I'm no doctor, so I had to look up what the fuck that means. And what that means is, for kids who identify as transgender or non-binary, whatever the fuck, and want to have surgery in order to affirm their gender, this children's hospital is willing to cut out the uterus of children. And they're fucking talking about it like it's totally fucking cool. Like, you're the one who has the fucking problem with what the fuck I just said. You fucking bastard. How dare you deny these children the opportunity to remove their reproductive organs, forever denying them the chance to have kids in the instance that they change their mind down the line. And then I saw this other thing too, where it's like this dad found out that his school was fucking prescribed. The school had prescribed his 9th grader or 7th or 8th, whatever the fuck, but like antidepressants without his knowledge. And I don't want to sound like transphobic or anything like that, because I'm not. But this is child abuse, and this is fucked up. Beyond fucked up that what we are supposed to believe are sane, educated adults are allowing these things to happen to these fucking kids who are just fucking kids. Okay, and that's all I'm going to say about that shit, because it's just fucking irritating. Okay, that shit is like when your 6-year-old comes to you and tells you that they're a boy or a girl, it is 100% dependent on the parents' beliefs whether or not that continues it down the path of now I'm trans and give me hormone blockers and cut out my uterus, or that's just kids being kids. They'll get over it and they'll come around, which a lot of the times is the case. You can't just automatically assume that a 6-year-old or a 4-year-old, or sometimes even younger than that, apparently, knows themselves that well to be able to make a decision like that. And for a parent to just be like, shoot. Like, you know what kind of decisions I let my kids make? Like, do you want fucking a cheeseburger or do you want chicken nuggets? Like, what do you want? Like, that's the kind of choices I make. They don't get to choose fucking what gender they are. Crazy. It's child abuse and it needs to stop. These people need to be locked up. Okay. I'm over that. I'm done with that one. This is the last thing I'm going to talk about before I wrap this podcast up. Okay. And it's not... Okay, so it's about Olivia Rodrigo, as my wife would say. And this song, Driver's License. I am, for some reason, obsessed with this song. And as I'm looking for variant versions of it, performed by other singers, acoustic stylings, punk rock versions, whatever have you, just alternate versions of this song, which I am obsessed with. I come across all these different bands who are covering it, and that's awesome. That's great. Except some of these boys are so insecure that when they cover a song written by a girl about a boy, they feel it necessary to flip the script and change the lyrics and write it from the boy's perspective. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with this song. I don't know the demographic of my audience. I might not look like the type who likes Olivia Rodrigo. And you're right, I'm not. But I like this song for some reason. And I don't even really like her as a person either. I know she was on there with like Fauci spouting about some motherfucking vaccine shit in the beginning of this shit too. So she's just as bad as the rest of them. But I can put that aside and get into my feelings about this driver's license song. Okay? So let me just say, I do not appreciate you cowards covering a song and not having the balls to sing it as it was. If she's singing about a boy, sing about that boy. What are you afraid of? Just sing the lyrics as they are. You don't need to change it to protect your masculinity. Everybody knows it's a cover song. We know you never write that song for a boy. We know that's not your song, Driver's License. So just get over your ego and cover it the way it was. You don't have to do that because it's great. Like, your cover songs are great. Like, some of the ones I found, these like kind of like pop punk versions, were really good. And then when they get to the line about like, you're probably with that blonde girl, they change it to blonde boy or like tall boy. Like, what the fuck are you doing? How dare you? As an artist, like, I'm sure she would be, I don't know, she might appreciate it either way. I can't speak for her, but that shit's annoying. Just fucking be a man and sing it as it is. Was trying to be ending on a positive. I can't believe I didn't even finish this fucking joint in this episode. I didn't light it till like halfway in, but that's it for this episode. I'm going to cut it off there. Thank you for listening and thank you for watching. Please subscribe to whatever platform you prefer: YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Anchor.fm, or some of the other ones. Google Podcasts, Samsung, or whatever, Android Podcasts, all that shit. I would really, really appreciate it. Don't forget to check out the sponsors of the podcast: Oahu Garden Supply, and my homie the Grow Guru, located in beautiful Waipahu. Be sure to check them out. Let them know I sent you. Pakalolo Seed Molokai for all your beans. You can plant them in the ground and grow stuff. And then you can call Calais and learn how to grow that shit better. And then last but not least is my boy Jerry, a.k.a. Miko Ferrari, over at Retro Hawaii for all your throwback Hawaii gear. That's it. Another episode in the books. Episode number 158, I believe. Maybe. Whatever. I should just never do that and never be like what number I'm on while I'm recording, because I'm never quite sure. But thank you guys again for watching and listening. I really appreciate it. I love you guys. Peace.